sometimes incredibly disturbing little snippet of knowledge out of nowhere. Hi, my name is Carly, and if you don't already have that friend, congratulations. Now you do. I delight in researching anything and everything that piques my curiosity in the least bit. And as my husband has pointed out, we carry a mini supercomputer in our pockets every single day. So anytime I have the slightest curiosity about any given thing, from how wine gets its price to the difference between a Yeti and a Wendigo, I just look it up. Welcome to I'm Already Looking It Up. Let's sit down, relax, maybe have a drink or two, and learn a few things. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of I Am Already Looking It Up, the podcast where I, your host, researches a random topic and tell you, my lovely listeners, all about it. So without further ado, let's get started. So this topic today was actually supposed to come out on Friday the 13th, and it didn't. And it's all about Friday the 13th, so not a lot of explanation needed, but I would like to talk a little bit about where this idea that a 13 on a Friday is an unlucky number comes from, and just some kind of interesting and or weird superstitions that we see around the world. So, we're going to start with kind of the history of this. Move some stuff. Okay, so Friday the 13th is considered an unlucky day in Western superstition. It occurs when the 13th day of the month in the Gregorian calendar falls on Friday, which happens at least once every year but can occur up to 3 times in the same year. For example, 2015 had a Friday the 13th in February, March, and November, which will happen again in 2026. Leap years that begin on Sunday that follow dominical letter AG, such as 2012 and 2040, also have 3 Friday the 13th in January, April, and July. 2017 through 2020 had 2 Friday the 13th, as did 2023. 2016, 2021, and 2022 had just 1 Friday the 13th, as will 2025. 2027 and 2028 and 2024 will have 2 Friday the 13th as well. A month has a Friday the 13th if and only it begins on a Sunday. Makes sense. So the history, the unluckiness of 13. One source mentioned for the unlucky reputation of the number 13 is a Norse myth about 12 gods having a dinner party in Valhalla. The trickster god Loki, who was not invited, arrived as the 13th guest and arranged for Hodor, the god of darkness, to shoot Balder, the god of joy and gladness, with a mistletoe-tipped arrow. Balder died, triggering much suffering in the world, which caused the number 13 to be considered unlucky. Alright then. Oh, sorry. Christian associations. The superstition seems to relate to various things, like the story of Jesus' Last Supper and crucifixion, in which there was 13 individuals present in the upper room on the 13th of Nisan, Thursday, the night before the death on Good Friday. In conjunction with Friday, there is evidence of both Friday and the number 13 being considered unlucky. There is no record of the 2 items being referred to as especially unlucky in conjunction before the 19th century. The Knights Templar. Some cities, the arrest of the Knights Templar on Friday, October 13, 1307, by officers of King Philip IV of France as the origin of Friday the 13th superstition, but it is agreed that the origins remain murky. 19th century in France, Friday the 13th might have been associated with misfortune as early as the first half of the 19th century. A character in the 1834 play Les Finesses de Greboyes states, I was born on Friday, December 13th, 1813, from which come all of my misfortunes. An early documented reference in English occurs in H.S. Edwards' biography of Gioacchino Rossini, who died on Friday the 13th of November, 1868. Rossini was surrounded to the last by admiring friends, and if it be true that, like so many Italians, he regarded Fridays as an unlucky day and 13 as an unlucky number, it is remarkable that on Friday the 13th of November he passed away. Dissemination. It is possible that the publication of the 1907 of T.W. Lawson's popular novel Friday the 13th contributed to popularizing the superstition. In the novel, an unscrupulous broker takes advantage of the superstition to create a Wall Street panic on the Friday the 13th. Similar dates are prevalent in many cultures. It is unclear whether these similarities are in any way historically connected or only coincidental. So we have Tuesday the 13th in Hispanic and Greek culture. In Hispanic countries, instead of Friday, Tuesday the 13th, Martes 13 is considered a day of bad luck. The Greeks also consider Tuesday, and especially the 13th, an unlucky day. Tuesday is considered dominated by the influence of Ares, the god of war, or Mars, the Roman equivalent. The fall of Constantinople to the Fourth Crusade occurred on Tuesday the 13th, April 1204, and the fall of Constantinople to the Ottomans happened on a Tuesday, 29th, May 1453. Events that strengthen the superstition about Tuesday. In addition, in Greek, the name of the day is Triti, meaning the third day of the week, adding weight to the superstition since bad luck is said to come in threes. There is a Tuesday the 13th in months that begin on Thursday. All right. In Italian popular culture, Friday the 17th, and not the 13th, is considered to be a bad luck day. The origin of the belief could be traced in writing of the number 17 in Roman numerals, XVII. By shuffling the digits of the number 1, of the number one can get Latin VIXI, I have lived, implying death at present, an omen of bad luck. In fact, in Italy, 13 is generally considered a lucky number, although some people may consider 13 an unlucky number as well due to Americanization. The 2000 parody film Shriek If You Know What I Did Last Friday the 13th was released in Italy with the title Shriek, Hi Impegni per Verendi 17. Shriek, do you have something to do on Friday the 17th? The social influence, according to Stress Management Center and the Phobia Institute in Asheville, North Carolina, an estimate of 17 to 21 million people in the United States are affected by a fear of this day, making it the most feared day and date in history. Some people are so paralyzed by fear they avoid their normal routines in doing business, taking flights, or even getting out of bed. It has been estimated that U.S. 800 to 900 million is lost in business on this day. Despite this, representatives for both Delta Airlines and Continental Airlines, the latter now merged into United Airlines, have stated that their airlines do not suffer from any noticeable drop in travel on these Fridays. In Finland, a consortium of governmental and non-governmental organizations led by the Ministry of Social Affairs and Health promotes the National Accident Day to raise awareness about automotive safety, which always falls on Friday the 13th. The event is coordinated by the Finnish Red Cross and has been held since 1995. Rate of accidents. A study by Scanlon and Singleton, 1993, attracted attention from popular science literature as it concluded that the risk of hospital admission as a result of transport as a result of a transport accident may be increased as much as 52% on the 13th. However, the authors clearly state that the numbers of admissions from these accidents are too small to allow meaningful analysis. Subsequent studies have disproved any correlation between Friday the 13th and the rate of accidents. On June 12, 2008, the Dutch Center for Insurance Statistics stated to the contrary that fewer accidents and reports of fire, theft, and theft occur when the 13th of the month falls on a Friday than on other Fridays, because people are preventatively more careful or just stay home. Statistically speaking, driving is slightly safer on Friday the 13th, at least in the Netherlands. In the last 2 years, Dutch insurers received reports of, on average, of 7,800 traffic accidents each Friday, but the average figure when the 13th fell on a Friday was just 7,500. There you go. Occurrence. Each 400-year Gregorian solar cycle contains 146,000, oh god dang it, hold on, I messed that up. 146,097 days with 97 leap days, or exactly 20,871 weeks. Each cycle contains the same pattern of days of the week and therefore the same pattern of Fridays that are on the 13th. The 13th day of the month is very slightly more likely to be a Friday than any other day of the week. Day of the week occurrences, it looks like Friday, distributed of the 13th day per weekday over 4,800 months or 400 years. On Friday, it falls on the 13th 688 times. Any month that starts on a Sunday contains a Friday the 13th, and there is at least one Friday the 13th in every calendar year. The months with a Friday the 13th are determined by the dominical letter G, or GF, I don't know, of the year, which years which began on the same day of the week are of the same type, i.e. common year or leap year. We'll have a Friday the 13th in the same months. This sequence is given here for 1900 to 2099, follows a 28-year cycle from 1 March 1900 to 28 February 2100. So yeah, it's just a thing showing all of the Fridays, or not the Fridays, but yeah. Anyway, so although there's always at least one Friday the 13th per calendar year, it can be as long as 14 months between two Friday the 13ths. The longest period that occurs without a Friday the 13th is 14 months, either from July to September, the following year being a common year starting on Tuesday, or from August to October, the following year being a leap year starting on a Saturday. The shortest period that occurs with a Friday the 13th is just 1 month, from February to March, in a common year starting on Thursday. On average, there is a Friday the 13th once every 212.35 days. Friday the 13th occur with an average frequency of 1.7218 per year, or about 3,477 since year 1 CE. There can be no more than 3 Friday the 13ths in a single calendar year, either in February, March, or November in a common year starting on Thursday, or January, April, and July in a leap year starting on Sunday. In the 2000s, there were 3 Friday the 13ths in 2009 and 2 Friday the 13ths in 2001, 2002, 2006, and 2007. In the 2010s, there were 3 Friday the 13ths in 2012 and 2015, and 2 in 2013, 2017, 2018, and 2019. In the 2020s, there were 2 Friday the 13ths in 2020 and 2023. There will also be 3 Friday the 13ths in 2026 and 2 in 2024 and 2029. The remaining years all have at least 1 Friday the 13th. For the details, see the table below. So it's just kind of showing how that works. And that is the history and kind of Wikipedia article on Friday the 13th. Very interesting. I did not know that it had Christian origins, or at least that Friday has unlucky Christian origins. And also, like, Last Supper ties. It's very interesting. Alright, so now I want to look at some interesting superstitions. They don't necessarily all have to deal with Friday the 13th. I think the idea is that Friday the 13th itself is the superstition, like it's just a bad day or a bad luck day. Whereas here, this is more just like good luck versus bad luck superstitions, just different ones and talking about them and where they come from. I think some of these are really interesting. Okay. So the first one listed is talking about throwing salt over your shoulder, which I always thought was strange. Anyone who is superstitious knows if you spill salt, you have to throw it over your left shoulder. That apparently comes from ancient Romans who believed that would ward off the devil. It was said that it would hit him in the face and blind him. Seems kind of rude in my opinion, but I don't have the devil following me around. At least I don't think so. Spilling salt is also associated with Jesus, since in Leonardo da Vinci's painting The Last Supper, you see Judas spilling salt. Maybe he was just clumsy. Either way, if you spill salt on Friday the 13th or any other time, do not under any circumstances do what Harry did in Dumb and Dumber. Alright, broomsticks are not just for witches. This one doesn't sit well with me for a bunch of reasons, but here we go. The superstition says that if you don't want to be single for the rest of your life, don't let a broom sweep across your feet. If it does happen, there's a way to reverse it, but it's gross. If a broom sweeps across your feet, make sure you immediately spit on that broom. Take that, witch's mode of transportation. I couldn't find the origin of this one, but it said that a woman, I'm going to include all people in this though, that can't keep the house tidy is not a good partner. Be sure spitting on the broom is super clean. Alright. Number 4. This comes from the Eastern Asia and is similar to our fear of the number 13. In China, the sound of 4 sounds like death, and in Korea and Japan, 4 and death are actually the same. At least 13 is a prime number. Not sure that counts for anything. Rabbit, rabbit, you say. As someone who has lived their entire life in North America, I have never heard of this, but apparently people on this continent believe that if you say rabbit, rabbit on the first of the month, it will bring you luck. I've heard that rabbits' feet are lucky, but this one is new to me. I've never heard that one either. Don't walk backwards. People in Portugal believe that if you walk backwards, it's an invitation for the devil, since you're showing him where you live or where you're going. What if I'm going to the dumpster, though? Okay. That one's kind of interesting. I haven't heard of that one before. Tuck your thumb saves a life. People in Japan believe that when you visit the cemetery, you must tuck your thumb. Tuck your thumb. So this is similar superstition to number 4, kinda. Thumb means parent figure in Japanese, so by tucking your thumb, you are protecting your parent from death. Seems logical. Cue up some Abby Stewart and Knock on Wood. I feel like we all know this one. I know I've been saying Knock on Wood since I was a kid, but did you know that there are a bunch of different origins? The Celtic or Indo-European belief is that by not knocking on wood, you are calling on spirits or gods of trees for protection. There was also a game in the 19th century called Tiggy Touchwood, which sounds like an HR violation, where the players who are touching wood stay in the game. Other cultures have similar variations of this belief, like touching steel, poles, unpainted wood, wood with no legs, or knocking on wood twice. All I know is that the music video from Amy Stewart's Knock on Wood is fantastic. Don't say happy birthday if it's not. In Russia, they believe that if you wish someone a happy birthday before their actual birthday, it will bring bad luck. Fortunately, if you forget to wish someone a happy birthday, you can still do it. If we know anything about Russia, it's that you follow the rules, so don't do this if you ever go there. Okay? Don't give me dandelions. I don't know if dandelions are actually flowers, and this isn't specific to them, but more so yellow flowers in general. In Russia, if you give someone yellow flowers, it is considered inappropriate. Not an HR violation kind of way, but more like it is said to bring problems in relationships like separation, infidelity, and death. Again, if you happen to be in Russia, don't even look at a yellow flower just for your own safety. A lemon a day keeps evil away. This is very common in Indian culture. Lemons, along with chilies, will be hung outside the homes to stop evil spirits and bad omens from entering your home. You can also hang them on your car or bike, and after that, maybe make nice marinade. All right. Well, there you go. Some pretty interesting superstitions. Is there any other ones that are... Let me see if I can find maybe another article that's got some different ones. Yeah, we'll go 5 strange superstitions. See if any of these are much different. No, I don't want... Never mind. That one doesn't let me use my ad blocker. Yeah. Alright. Okay, so... here's some of the, really common ones. So there's the breaking a mirror. I actually kind of want to look up some of the common one origins. So, why does breaking a mirror bring bad luck? Okay. Let's see. Okay, so the Greeks believed that one's reflection on the surface of a pool of water revealed one's soul, but it was Roman artisans who actually learned to manufacture mirrors from polished metal surfaces and believed their gods observed souls through these devices. To damage a mirror was considered so disrespectful that people thought it compelled gods to rain bad luck on anyone so careless. Around the 3rd century, mirrors were being made from glass, and breakage became a lot more common, but the Romans did not believe that the ensuing bad luck would last forever. They believed that the body renewed itself every 7 years. And the belief that good luck would eventually return was surely comforting. People always tended to believe things that make them feel good, even when untrue. The human mind continuously and unconsciously searches for useful patterns. For example, we survive by recognizing feeding patterns and put ourselves in the right places at the right times for meals. We also avoid injury or death when crossing a busy street by recognizing traffic patterns. Getting fed and avoiding being squashed in traffic both involve learning real cause and effect patterns. Sometimes, however, our brains infer cause and effect patterns that aren't real. Suppose your friend gives you a lucky penny. You're skeptical, but a few days pass and nothing bad happens. That's only a coincidence. Your brain may still infer a pattern, and you may begin to believe the penny caused a run of good luck. A superstition is born. We also acquire superstitious beliefs during socialization, learning about them from parents and other trusted authorities, while still young and open to a world full of magical possibilities. Then our superstitions circulate indefinitely among families and friends, reinforced by word of mouth, social media, and mass media. The more people there are supporting the superstition, the more believable it is, and it will seem, and the longer it will persist. There you go, a little psychology behind that. And that's true. I mean, it's also kind of like, I don't want to say the energy you put out to some space, but I'm a really big believer, especially since I started working in mental health, that your life is all about how you perceive it and what you allow to impact you. So if I have something and I say, this is an unlucky pen. I will never use this pen because it doesn't work. And if I have it or anytime I use it, something bad happens. Well, then my brain is going to say, anytime I have that pen or use that pen, my brain, if I remember that that's the unlucky pen, my brain's going to look for the patterns of things that are not lucky, even if it's like the smallest things. So in my head, I'm finding all these things that are not good or that are, that happened and something negative comes out of it. And my brain's going to look for all that on its own without me thinking about it. And in my head, I'm going to think, oh man, today is such an unlucky day because I used that pen. However, if I say, I have a lucky something or other, like the example mentioned, a penny, my brain is going to be more predisposed to find the good things that are happening in my daily activities than, the bad. So I'll be thinking, instead of, oh, it's been a bad day because I used that pen, I'll be thinking, it's been a good day because I have my lucky penny. And I'll allow that lucky penny to just kind of make me feel better about it. And I think that that is a very powerful way to look at life, because if you're someone who, and it's really hard to do, honestly, I mean, especially these days, it seems like there's so much bad going on. It's really hard to find positive things to talk about. And at the same time, like, some of us just, like, we want to be realistic. We don't want to try and be overly positive all the time, because we know that doesn't necessarily do anything or help serious situations in a way. But I also am a big proponent of just looking for the good things, especially when you're having a bad day. It doesn't mean that you can't be upset about your bad day. You're allowed to feel those feelings and understand that, like, this has not been a good day for these reasons. But it's also okay to say, it's not been a great day. But, like, here are some good things that happened today, and, more focusing on that, rather than just being negative, because being negative has an effect kind of on everyone around you. I know there are tons of people that I know that I have a hard time just being around because they are negative people, and they just kind of exude this negativeness, and you could be having a really good day and, they'll say something and you just kind of go down. It's really easy to impose negativity on people. So I think the idea of superstitions is very interesting, because it's a lot of that same thought process of the energy that we put out. Usually will come back to us mainly because our brains will look for it, right? So if I am wearing a necklace and I say, this is my lucky necklace, my brain is more predisposed to be like, I'm wearing my lucky necklace today, it's gonna be a good day. So I'm gonna look for all of the good things, right? And, if I have a shirt that, like, this is my unlucky shirt, I'm gonna be more likely to look for the things of the day that are not as good, because I'll just blame my shirt. Because that's another thing about humans, is we're always looking for someone else to blame. And it's not to say that just because you have a bad day, it's your fault. It's just more that, like, we want there to be some explanation that is out of our control. Because if it's out of our control, it can't possibly be our fault. Or, there was nothing we could do about it. But I, also, since I've started working in mental health, I'm a big proponent of you can only control yourself and what you do. And while it's really hard to release that control to others and to understand that you can't you can't just make people do things. You know, it's really hard to let go of that kind of control. But once you do, it's kind of freeing to say, you know, I'm going to do this. This is the thing that I can do in this situation, and I'm going to do it. And if the other people don't do the things they're supposed to do in this situation, that is not my fault. I, you know, can encourage them. I can try to make my argument as to why they should do the thing that I need them to do in this situation. Or, you know, maybe I can find ways to do that thing myself, or find ways to make that thing more fun, you know? So it's all about perspective and understanding that how you think of things in your life is going to kind of paint your life. Now, that's also not to say that things like, you know, depression and all that can just be forgotten and ignored. Obviously not. Like I said, work in mental health. I definitely agree that there are some things in your brain that cannot necessarily be fixed by simply thinking positively. And that's okay too. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's also all about, what are you going to do about this? Like, you know, when I was really depressed for a while, I never thought I needed medication for my depression specifically, because I believed that I take hypothyroid medication, and I believe that's what helped it. But realizing I was still really struggling with depression and with anxiety, and I finally, you know, when I saw a therapist, was telling them about that, and they said, you know, it doesn't hurt to try some of these medications, and if they work for you, they work for you, and that's great. And if they don't, then we try something else. We focus on coping skills. We focus on the things that that can bring you out of that depression, or the things that can relax you and help calm you in moments of anxiety. And that sounded great to me. So I gave things a try, and things ended up working out for me. And I know it's not the same for everyone, but definitely it's about perspective. It's about perspective, and it's about what you do in the wake of that perspective. So I know this was meant to be about Friday the 13th and superstitions, but I sincerely believe that superstitions come a lot from you know, perspective and cultural significance. And because if you're told your whole life, like, if you do this, it's bad luck, then once you do it, that thought is already in your mind that's bad luck, and something bad is going to happen because you did that, or something good is going to happen because you did something else. Or like with the knocking salt over and then throwing a little bit of salt over your shoulder, how it has that reverse effect and all that. So I just think the human brain is very interesting in how we perceive things and what we do with that information. So, but I know this was a bit of a shorter episode. Not a lot to say about Friday the 13th. Everyone knows the kind of general superstitions and all of that anyway, but I thought it was fun to just kind of look at some other ones that I'd never heard of before. I'll try to remember to say rabbit rabbit to make my January feel better, because it says you have to say it on the 1st of the month. So there you go. But I think that's where we're going to leave it for now. Thank you for taking the time to listen today, and if you enjoyed the show, please like, subscribe, share it. It really helps me out. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to I'm Already Looking It Up. This show is written, directed, edited, and produced all by me, Carly Kaufman. To show your support, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts, like, share, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. You can also check out at Wild Forest Productions on Patreon, Tumblr, and Instagram, and Facebook. To find other ways to support the creator, check out at Empress Wild on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter /X, Facebook, TikTok, and also Instagram. And if you have any topic suggestions, feel free to throw them my way. Can't wait to see you in the next episode. Until then.